From a massive highway bridge blown to pieces after being deemed unsafe, to a spectacular video of a coal headframe literally rolling upside down, here are 5 extreme demolitions and implosions. Dortmund is the 8th largest German city, with a population nearing 600,000 as of 2021. Unfortunately, Dortmund was the most bombed German city during World War II, with 98% of the buildings in its inner city destroyed by Allied forces. Of course, the world moves on and civilization rebuilds. That is, until they have to blow something up again. On October 18th of 2015, an expert demolitions team rigged a 270-foot gasometer to implode on itself. It is truly amazing to watch something so large disappear in seconds. The demolition was a public event in Dortmund, as we have several different camera angles of the implosion. First, the demolition team sets off charges on the structure's roof. Then, the explosives blow out the base, allowing some of the gasometer to implode. However, the structure tips to the side and ultimately falls over on its side. From a different angle, you can see the explosives detonate on our side and not the other. Thankfully, there was nothing in the way of the building when it fell. It's also unclear whether that was the plan all along. The science behind a controlled demolition is pretty simple to understand. If you blow out the base of a building, the layer above that point falls down, then the next layer and the layer after that, until all that's left is a big cloud of dust. The explosives only get the ball rolling. Gravity does most of the work. Giza Egypt is known for one thing and one thing only: ancient Egyptian architecture. The 4th largest city in Africa is home to the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. The area has changed hands several times since the ancients built the pyramids, with the Persians, Greeks, Romans, and Byzantines ruling the area for some time. Between 636 and 642 AD, the Muslims of Rashidun Caliphate took the land from the Byzantine Empire and founded Giza in 642. The city has since grown into a booming tourist destination for those interested in the ancients. Still, life goes on for those who call Giza home, especially this lucky crane driver who escaped certain death when an apartment building almost fell right on top of him. The crane's arm extends out, trying to knock down the last pillar holding up the Egyptian apartment building. The driver nudges it, teases it even, but the building stands strong. Then, without much warning, the structure topples over, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and debris into the driver's cabin. Hopefully, he had the windows closed, but that's no guarantee on a hot Egyptian day. Now you may be asking yourself, why not use explosives in a controlled demolition? Well, for 4 or 5-story buildings like the one we're looking at here, it's more common to use heavy machinery than explosives. In fact, explosive demolitions only come into play when you're taking down taller structures like skyscrapers and old hotels. And we're pretty sure this crane driver would have preferred to watch the building go boom from 100 yards away. Siegen is a college city in Germany with over 20,000 students. And as students come from all over the country, they take one major roadway to get into the city, the Autobahn. The Sieg Viaduct is an important bridge connecting the city to the Autobahn between junctions 21 and 22. However, in October of 2020, officials deemed a section of the bridge unsafe. Construction finished on a more robust section of the bridge that could support the heavy flow of daily traffic. Now, Germany was left with an old bridge and a handful of explosives. You might as well gather the locals and make a spectacle. The old bridge, which stands 50 meters high and weighs over 12,000 tons, awaits its demise as the crew and spectators get in place. Then you hear a man count down, and boom! The legs blow out, and the entire structure comes crashing down. Perhaps the most impressive shot is the close-up of the support leg itself. You can see a chunk of concrete explode from the bottom, causing the entire bridge to collapse in the intended direction. So, is it true what they say about the speed limit on the Autobahn? Can you really go as fast as you want? While the government recommends a maximum speed of 80 miles per hour, there is generally no speed limit. Outside of cities, towns, and narrow stretches, you're free to drive as fast as you want on the German highway system. Just make sure there aren't any scheduled demolitions that day. Magdeburg Germany has a pretty interesting history and just celebrated its 1,200th anniversary in 2013. It is the burial place of Otto I, the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. It's also been destroyed and rebuilt twice. The first time was in 1631, after the Catholic League sacked the city. The second was in 1945, when Allied bombers destroyed most of it during World War II. In the summer of 2018, a demolition crew rigged a massive concrete chimney to blow. Like cutting down a tree, they carefully gutted one side so the structure would fall in the intended direction. Still, the camera was a little too close for comfort when it finally hit the ground. We get some early up-close and personal stills of the chimney before everything goes boom. Workers gutted what looked like more than 50 pieces of steel support rods from the structure to ensure it didn't withstand the blast. Then they rigged the explosives and got far enough away, but not before rigging a camera in the picture-perfect spot. The aftermath looks more like the remains of a prehistoric snake. Sharp steel beams jut out like a ribcage, and the shattered rubble looks like decades of decaying flesh. Hopefully, nobody spray paints the next chimney. But chimneys weren't the only tall structures coming down in Magdeburg. In March of 2017, a demolition team rigged a radio tower that had finally sent its last signal. You see these tall towers everywhere you go. They're meant to support antennas for telecommunications, TV, and general broadcasting, and they come in two forms. Self-supporting structures are pretty self-explanatory. In fact, they often look like regular skyscrapers if you're not paying attention. Take the Tokyo Skytree, the third tallest structure in the world, and the tallest in Japan. On the other hand, you have guide towers supported by wires that anchor in the ground. As you see in this video, those wires are the only thing keeping the tower from falling over. You hear the explosion, but never really see anything. Then, slowly but surely, the radio tower topples over to the ground, breaking apart on its way down like it was made of 3 long Legos. Then, we get a close-up of the demolition and see that the crew rigged the charges to the anchors, not the tower. By blowing the anchors on one side, the tension on the other forced the tower to fall in that direction. Slowed down, you can see the anchors blow from back to front. This is important because the furthest anchors connect to the tallest part of the tower. You can force the tower to fall in the opposite direction by blowing those first. The entire demolition takes 20 seconds, an impressive length of time for something to simply fall down. Hamm, Germany was once known for its coal mining industry. Within the urban district alone, there were 4 different coal mines in the last century, which is a lot of coal mines. However, those mines were eventually abandoned, leaving Hamm to deal with their guts. So, when the town's last mine closed in 2010, officials in Hamm decided to turn them into parks. Of course, that meant tearing down the buildings and paving the way for green pastures and walkways. In January of 2011, a demolition crew took down the RAG headframe in a cathartic goodbye to the Hamm coal mining industry. An explosion blows out the right legs underneath the headframe, causing it to topple over. Then, the forward momentum carries the other side up and over, leaving the building upside down. But why not let the building collapse in on itself? Wouldn't that be safer? The building is called a headframe, which is the structure built above the entrance to the mine. It's meant to hoist workers, material, and equipment out of the mine and back up to ground level. So, there's basically a giant hole under the building, and the demolition team couldn't let the building fall inside. Did they expect the building to roll over like that? Well, that we can't say for sure. Well, that wraps things up for this video, but be sure to click the link on screen now to see another one of ours just like it. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.